Hello, welcome, and namaste. This is Moksha Mukti Apollo going live. You can ask questions, comments, concerns. Type it up, and Moksha Mukti will point you to the source. Moksha Mukti will speak regarding your questions, comments, concerns. And here, Moksha Mukti is going to respond some of the questions that you asked previously. And let me start from here. Any comments that Moksha Mukti can respond from the previous talks. So okay, so no questions here. See if I have any questions here on this talks from Friday. I have a question from Gayatri Titus, and Gayatri writes, what can we tell people when they hold us responsible for their own unhappiness? I would simply laugh. I will simply laugh. I will simply laugh because the unhappiness is the interpretation of the thought. So they're interpreting their thought in this way, or they're interpreting their feelings this way. Why are you worried? That is just the interpretation of thought, just like you have similar thought in your own brain. So they have similar thought on their own brain. You see, unhappiness. You can also have the similar thought on your brain. That is a question of Gayatri. And we have Sue Walker. This actually questions from Friday's talk. So I don't know if you can see it here. Can't see it there, right? So Sue Walker asks questions. Hello, what about illness? Moksha Mukti says there are 4 sources of illness, where the illness stems from. And the 5th space, everything occurs in the quantum plexus. Moksha Mukti says quantum plexus in there. There are 4 reasons why illness occurs. Number 1, from your food you eat. Number 2, from the environment. You see, from the environment you can get ill. Number 3, you can get ill from your DNA. And number 4, you can get ill from your own thought. And there is something within you that is Moksha Mukti calls quantum plexus. The quantum plexus itself has the power to heal any illness. And the quantum plexus also heals or harms depending on your own thought. Depending on your own thought, it heals or harms. And whether it heals or harms is also dependent by your DNA. Because from DNA you are thinking. All the thought is arising from DNA. And some people call that past karma. And that is attached to your DNA. You see. Any questions, comments, concern? Type your question so Moksha Mukti can speak regarding that point to you. Then we have, this is from Friday. There is Jared Tillman. Jared writes, how does conscious observation affect the universe? It doesn't affect anything. Whether you observe or you don't observe, it has nothing to do with the universe. Because the universe is itself expressing, the universe is itself living, the universe is itself functioning. So whether you observe, whether you don't observe, universe doesn't care. Universe doesn't care at all. Your observation is only for you to experience what is. Experience what is here. Experience your true self. Experience that you are connected to the universe. See? So whether you observe, you don't observe, universe does not care. So see if I can take any more questions. So this was from Friday. Let me go back to some other live video here from Thursday. So this was from Thursday. And some of the questions, some of the comments, questions, Moksha is not even going to respond. Unless something comes up while conversation, somebody asks questions, somebody comments something, only then Moksha Mukti is going to respond to what is written in the comment. But he's not going to respond to all the comments. Now, so there, this is from Thursday. And some Thursday, there was one person, Joel Sunderland, and Joel writes, how to cope with illness? First of all, illness is something that body is fighting to protect itself. Body is fighting to whatever causing in your body is fighting itself, and to protect the body, the symptom of illness, so-called illness, occurs in the body. So in that moment, resting, not thinking too much, and allow body to take care of yourself. See, the more you're thinking, it creates fear. And when you have fear, the illness will progress. There's a strong correlation between fear and illness. So when you are fearful while you're ill, illness will progress. And your fear is stemming from the thought. If you accept and allow body to take care of yourself, it will heal you faster. You see? And of course, if you're ill, you may go see a doctor and get your treatment, but most of the time, body knows how to heal itself, body can protect it. But Moksha Mukti is saying, well, you're going to get sick, body going to protect it. No. If you need to go to a doctor, go see a doctor, But what he's saying is that the thought has nothing to do with the body. So thought is thinking, well, I'm going to cure the body. Thought cannot cure the body. Actually, not thinking can cure the body faster. Any questions, comment, concerns? Type your questions, comment, concerns, and Moksha Mukti will speak on that. And see, I'm going to do the sound test because last time there was an audio issue. So when Moksha Mukti was speaking, there was some audio issue last time. So I'm going to check the audio to make sure that the audio is working fine, that you can hear Moksha Mukti. or if you have an issue, just type your comments and Moksha Mukti knows there is an issue with the audio. Yeah, there is. So I'm checking right now. Checking right now to see the audio is coming out fine. Why is it taking long to get the audio? Maybe. Get the audio. Okay. So audio is doing fine. Audio is doing fine. Any questions, comment, concerns? Type your questions, comment, concerns, and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that. And I'm going to go back to Thursday or last week and read some of the comments and see if I can respond to the comment that he missed. Let's see. And this is going back to Tuesday, last Tuesday. Moksha Mukti may have missed questions, because what happens is that these videos are live, and like certain period of time. Right now it is live, and after this video is completed, and this will be uploaded on a Facebook, so you can still watch the video, and it still say live video. This says was live. So is live and a was live, there is a difference. So if it says was live, that means this video is no longer live. And if you type your questions, ask questions, Moksha Mukti is not live, and at the time he cannot respond to your questions. So I'm going back and responding to the question that Moksha Mukti feels that he wants to respond. And he's not going to respond to every questions, every comments. Looks like this one is already taken care of. And Tuesday at 12:53. Any questions, comment, concern? Type your questions, comment, concerns. So Moksha Mukti can speak regarding your questions, comment, concerns. I'm going back. Okay, looks like that's already been answered, all the questions there. Okay, let me go back to Monday's video, see if I missed any questions, comments, concerns. There was nothing from Monday, but there is some interesting comment that was written here on Monday by Julissa Roca. And Julissa Roca writes, tears of joy, starting to understand the need to observe the source. So what Moksha Mukti was pointing to the source. And when you come in here, most of you just listen to Moksha Mukti and you are not in the present moment. You're not in the present here and now. Either you're in the past thinking about the past, or you're anticipating about the future. But this person, what Moksha Mukti is pointing, this person was actually here in the present moment, and she got to experience the source. Being here and now, you see. And she was in tears of joy. And she writes, starting to understand the need to observation the source. So what Moksha Mukti is pointing you to observe your source now in this present moment. Not in the past, not in the future. You see, here and now, even for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, give your attention to the source. And when you give attention to the source, this is exactly what happened to Julissa. And Moksha Mukti is pointing you to the source. Pointing you to experience the source, pointing you to recognizing the source, and pointing you to see the source. And we have Sahil Kumar Sharma joined. Sahil, good morning. I see you are joined here. Thanks for joining. Those of you just thanks for joining. Those of you just joined, namaste. This is Moksha Mukti Apollo, and he's speaking today regarding your comment, questions, any concerns on your. Just simply type your comment, questions on a comment section, and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that, and he's going to point you to the source. Be here now. In the present moment, we're present. In the present moment, we're experiencing the source within you that is now. Any questions, concerns, comments? No questions, comment, concern. So anyway, some people, those of you watching, this is Moksha Mukti Apollo. He's taking your questions, comment, concern, and he'll speak regarding that. And what has happened in the past is that when this video is no longer live, people are still asking questions, thinking that, hey, when is Moksha Mukti is going to respond? Well, when the video is live now, in this moment, you can ask questions. Moksha Mukti will respond to that question. But when this video is no longer live, this will be uploaded on Facebook, and this will say was live. And when you type your questions, Moksha Mukti is not going to see that at the time. And you can type all you want, but he's not going to see after the video is uploaded. I could be doing something and the video is on there, and say, well, why is he not responding to me? So now here, and this is your opportunity to ask questions, type your comments, simply type it up, and Moksha Mukti will respond to that. Moksha Mukti will speak regarding to that. Otherwise, Moksha Mukti can speak like this all day, And when you type your questions, comment, concern, then this will be interactive. No questions today. Everyone is quiet. No comments, no questions, no concerns. See if I can move this camera down a little bit, and I can lean back. Finally, we have April White. Good morning, April. Namaste. Thanks for joining. How are you doing? Any questions, comment, concern? Type it up and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that. Hello, those who just joined now. Namaste. This is Moksha Mukti Apollo. If you have any questions, comment, concern, type your questions, comment, concern, and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that. If not, just welcome and join this presence. Right now it's morning here. And what time is it here? In Dallas, Texas, it's 10 a.m., 10:05 to be precise. And today it's a sunny day here. A little partly cloudy. Beautiful morning. And we have April just responded good morning, and she kept quiet, so it's okay to be quiet. Any questions, comment, concern? Type your questions, comment, concern, and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that. Moksha Mukti will point you to the source, and all the experiencing that you are experiencing now is stemming from the source. See, and Moksha Mukti is simply pointing to the source. And we have Adar Wyneb. Hello, Adar. Thanks for joining. Namaste. So Adar writes, what do you do in life? What do you do? Moksha Mukti is speaking right now. Moksha Mukti giving talks. Somebody's asking. Moksha Mukti is talking right now. He's giving talks, live talks. Somebody's calling me. So Adar, I'm doing my best to pronounce your name, right? So what do you do in life? You tell me, what do you do in life? See the source within you. What do you see? Where does it point you? What do you think you do is life? Life is simply living on its own. What do you do? Life is a question stemming from your thought. It's a question stem from your thought. Observe that. What is that stemming from? It's a question stemming from your thought. And there writes again, I live in Tel Aviv, Israel. I work, have fun, and try and bring peace to a beautiful land. Good. Moksha Mukti is currently taking any questions about life, direct experience that you're experiencing now in this present moment. Questions about happiness, sadness, anxiety, peace, epiphany, joy, fear, anger, anything and everything. He's taking questions about life, and he will speak regarding that, and he's going to point you to the source, because everything is stemming from the source. Everything is in the source, and he's pointing you to observe the source, and you'll see all the thoughts. All the thought is going on his own, thinking. You see, and that is connected to the source, and everything is connecting, and the source is observing now in this present moment, and all the thought arises in the brain. Thought says, I work, I have fun, I love peace, life is beautiful. All that is stemming from the thought. Thought is appearing and disappearing in your mind, and something within you, the source, is observing that. And we have Bobby Baringo. Hello, Bobby. Namaste. Thanks for joining. And Bobby writes, my daughter passed on 7 weeks ago. She was killed in a car accident. I don't know how to move on without her. She was 20. I just don't have enough time with her. That is certainly a sad story. Bobby, thanks for sharing that. That's a sad story. Certainly a sad experience to experience your family passed away, even your own daughter that you raised from the beginning, in the age of 20. It's a sad story. And I can feel your experience, you see. So that is your experience. That is a sad experience, you see. But here, what Moksha Mukti is pointing you are connected. He's directing you to the source. So when you go to the source itself will give you how to move on. The source itself will give you how to move on. I'll speak regarding this in a few minutes, because I don't want to impose on you anything. So he's pointing you to see the source, experience the source, recognizing the source. Look within. And what is that source is telling you? Before Moksha Mukti is going to speak, I want you to see the source, recognize the source, experience what is holding you. Recognize what is telling you that you don't have enough time with her. What is that is telling you? Is it coming from your thought, or is it coming from your source? See the connection. So I want you to do that, and I'll speak regarding this in a few minutes, or I'll speak regarding this later on, because I certainly understand that is a challenging experience to go through, and I will speak on this a little bit later. But right now, this is Moksha Mukti is pointing to the source. He wants you to put your attention to the source and see all those thoughts that is appearing in your head, because the source knows everything there is to know. Moksha Mukti does not even need to speak. So he's just pointing to the source, and he'll come back and speak to that regarding now. And Bobby writes, thank you. You're welcome, Bobby. And Bobby says, I'm trying. Certainly, it's not easy, because there is attachment to it. Humans are attached to the family, friends, everything. There is attachment to the condition that we're conditioned. Everything is conditioned by our society. Everything is conditioned by the knowledge. And humans are attached to the condition. So when you're attached to the condition, certainly it makes you difficult. But the source is already within you. Source is not attached. Source knows everything there is to know. Source knows how to guide you. Source knows how to help you move on. The source is already within you. And he's pointing you to see the source. And Bobby, I'll come back and speak regarding that, because what we say, what we don't say, it itself reveals everything. A lot of what we don't say reveals everything, because the source knows. And Moksha Mukti is pointing you to give attention to that inner observation that is observing all the thoughts, all the emotions, that is observing now. And I'll come back and speak regarding that. Let me acknowledge Paul Wood. Hello, Paul. Thanks for joining. Namaste. Paul Wood writes, how can I get rid of my anxiety attacks? Paul, your anxiety is appearing in your consciousness because you are anticipating. You are anticipating about the future. Moksha Mukti is pointing you to be here now and see the inner source. Observe where is your anxiety coming from within you in your functionality. He just pointed out the anxiety is stemming from you're trying to be in the future. Stay here and now and see the source, and source itself will guide you. Because the source knows everything there is to know, and that's already within you. And when Moksha Mukti is pointing out the source, everything you look in the source, and Moksha Mukti has said this in different occurrence, that Moksha Mukti is just an ordinary person. And some idiot came over here and type it up, say, you're not a god, you're not this. Moksha Mukti never says he's a god. He's a simple ordinary man. And he's pointing you to recognizing source. Give your attention to the source now, in the present moment. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing you. And see, and we're all connected. The source is the one. We're all connected through the source. You see, there is no separation between you and anything else. And everything is happening simultaneously. Everything is happening perfectly, imperfectly, perfectly. And there is no death in the reality. There is no death in the reality. The death is only perceived by the mind because of the comprehensive collective knowledge imposed upon us by the so-called expert. So expert says when the body no longer is breathing, no longer his heart is beating, there is a clinical death. And because of that, they said somebody died. And we feel sad. But in the reality is everything is continuing. There is no death. Body knows there is no death, and everything recycles. So when energy is left from here, that energy is taken and placed somewhere else, because it is the fortuitous concourse of atoms. You see, fortuitous concourse of atoms or quantum, because when the universe needs quantum or atoms, the energy, somewhere else, you will take it from here and place it over there for it to balance itself, for it to keep it going. Otherwise, everything will collapse if there is no balance of energy. So to balance the energy, Moksha, the universe will take the atoms or energy from here and place it somewhere else. And that's how it is continuing. So there is no death, because no energy is lost in the universe. It's everything is continuing. And Moksha Mukti will come back and speak about multiverse, just a little bit. But let me read some of the comments that's written here. Paul would write, I see, thank you. I thought I come from the source, but now I see my thoughts anticipating the future. Very good. Then we have Teep Kumar or some Kumar. I'm just going to say Kumar because I can read that. I can't read the other one. Tub or Cub or Kub. Anyway, Kumar, hello. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And Kumar writes, what is 11.11? What is that? Why do you need to know that? What's that got to do with life? What's that got to do with your direct experience? And Kumar is Kumar, you gotta have a patience. You know, Moksha Mukti is speaking naturally. This is a natural speed, and you're speeding up. You're anxious. Relax. Look into the source. This answer is already within you. And your question is, I don't even understand what you're asking. This is not about life. What is about 1111? Then we have Madana Manetatki Ferguson. Hey, I'm doing my best to pronounce your name. Madana I can pronounce. Madana. Hello Madana. Namaste. Thanks for joining. And Madana writes, what about depression over lost youth, not being happy with your physical state as far as the changes that come with aging? I stayed in a long abusive marriage too long, divorced 10 plus years, still having in fear of not being sufficient. First, your question is stemming from your thought. The question is stemming from your condition, because the condition says, now I'm aging. Because Moksha Mukti is pointing, the age is just the perception of the mind. You see, there is a 100-year-old who participate in marathon. There is a 94-year-old woman still smoking. There is no cancer. 94-year-old woman is a personal trainer. There is a lot of things happening in the world. You see, so something conditioning you all. When you old, you're supposed to age. You're supposed to be weakened. It's all conditioned by the society. But in the reality, just the perception. Your age is a perception. Of course, the physical body will wear out, and when there's a physical body no longer is needed here, then the universe will place you somewhere else. That's the fact. But age itself, the power that you have, the energy that you have is the direct experience created by your perception from the condition that society has conditioned on you. See. So now when you say when you have a fear, well, I'm already old, a lot of things are wasted. So you're assuming a lot of things are wasted is coming from the past. So Moksha Mukti is pointing you to stay in the present, pointing you to experience what is here and now. Look in the source, give attention to the source. And when you're present, all your fear will fall off, because now you're anticipating the future. You're saying, you're not even staying in the present. You are either staying in the past, oh, my life wasted. Now you're anticipating the future. What's going to happen to me in the future? Stay here in the present now. Look into the source. And your fear will dissolve just like that. And we have Betty Holmes. Hello, Betty. Namaste. Thanks for joining. Betty Holmes writes, I was in a very bad auto accident that left me with 72 hours to live. I am very happy to say I am still here 18 years later and have the best life I've ever lived. I've come to peace with everything and everyone. Great. Thanks for sharing that, Betty. From your experience, other people can see the source. See, you are seeing the source. Seeing the source, you're in the present moment. In the present moment, you are so-called happy, right? But in the reality, there is no happy, there is no sad. Just is. Just what is. Existence, love. That's what is going on in the reality, right? So something happened to you that taught you to learn to be in the present. And you're in the present, everything seems peaceful when happiness. Even sadness seems peaceful when happy, because now you recognize the source, because now you're in the present, and the present itself will give attention to the source. So let me come back and talk about Bobby for a second. Bobby's daughter passed away when she was just 20 in a tragic accident. And So yeah, the other thing Moksha Mukti is going to say, well, there is a multiverse. You see, multiverse. In the multiverse, there's exact duplicate of you in one universe, and there is infinite universe. In those universe, your situation is different. You're no longer same person of your duplicate now. In that person, you could be something else, someone else, and everything is happening. All the possibilities happening in the infinite universe. So even you pass away here, you don't pass away there. You're living there. And consciousness is recognizing that. And when you go to the source, you can see that. You see. This is all dream. This so-called life is a dream. And when you wake up from here, just like when you wake up from your real dream that you're dreaming in the nighttime, hey, you say that was just a dream. And even from this dream, the waking state dream, when you awake from this dream, and you'll say, well, that was just a dream. I was dreaming. Now I am awake. Because you have recognized the source, you have experienced the source, you have seen the source. At that point, you can say, oh, I am awake now. And what was happening is just a dream. And Betty Holmes writes, I am permanently disabled but happy. Okay, just for the sake of other viewers, let's go and ask you questions. I'm glad you're happy. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're experiencing better than a lot of people. Moksha Mukti talks every day. So I'm glad. But just for the sake of other people, let's take the deeper to your conversation to point you to the source. So Betty, what makes you happy? Even you're disabled, what is making you happy? Maybe if you share that, others can learn. And I know Moksha Mukti is pointing, those happiness is stemming from the source. But just for the conversation, let me ask you questions. Thanks for coming here. Thanks for sharing. You're a brave person. What is the source of the happiness? What is making you happy now? Madonna writes, thank you. I hope so. Society judges women by looks. Severe health struggles made it seen to excel. Aging, but like her, I feel happy to still be here. Yes, be here and now. What is past already in the past, you can recall something of the past, but here. You can recall something of the future, but here in the present moment. You see, in the present moment, give attention to the source, and that source itself will make you energetic. That source itself will make you glow on your face. That source itself will make you look young again. You see, everything is there. Give your attention to that. And Madonna writes, how? Limitations are hard to deal with. What is that saying, limitation? What is limiting you? Move my position here a little bit. Health. So Madonna says her health is limiting her. Yeah, health is limiting you. But what Moksha Mukti is pointing, your health is stemming from the mind. Your thought is saying that. Thought is limiting you, not your health. Thought is limiting you, not your source. So he wants you to give attention to the source, not to the thought, and see the observation. Because the health, saying that I am limited by my health, is the thought is saying that, not you. Then Betty Holmes writes, you have to focus on the positive and not the negative in life. Well, Betty, the positive and the negative is just the interpretation of the thought. You see. But the source, there is a source already within you that recognizes neither positive, neither negative. It just recognizes thought is happening. and that itself will make you in the present, and that itself is making you happy because it is observing. It is observing the thought. You see, give attention to the source. Source itself will guide you. So Moksha Mukti is not saying be positive here. What he's saying is that thing will appear as a positive, that thing is appear as a powerful, that thing is unlimited potential. When you give attention to the source, it creates possibility for you to experience infinity possibilities. That source itself will when you give attention, it creates possibility for you to create miracle in your life. And you can turn around, and your health can turn around, and you can be healthy when you give attention to the source. Because everything is, Moksha Mukti pointed out, stems from four sources. The illness, the bad health or illness is stemming from four things. One, from your food. Second, from your DNA. Third, from your own thought. And fourth, from the environment. But majority of the illness is coming from the thought. So when you give attention to the source, source is observing here and now, and that itself will heal you. Then we have a Paul Wood. Paul, were you here before? Yeah, you're here. So Paul writes, what shape do you think the earth is? Moksha Mukti can answer that question, but let me ask you, what shape do you think the earth is, and what's that got to do with your life? Betty Holmes writes, very true, thank you. You're welcome, Betty. Give attention to the source, and Moksha Mukti is pointing you to give attention to the source here and now in this present moment. Moksha Mukti is simply pointing you to give your attention to the source within you now. What is here and now that you have already within you? Give attention to that. And we have John. Hey John, how are you? Namaste, thanks for joining. How was your vacation? You have a good time in Spain? So John Ferry Forey writes, how are you? Last time I spoke, I was going to Spain, now heading home. Welcome back. I hope you had a nice vacation. Then Madonna writes, so if you are severely damaged from abusive relationship, you can refrain your thinking. The one that is saying that you are severely damaged in abusive relationship, all of them are stemming from your thought. See, when you go to the source, recognize the source, the thought will not be able to harm you. What is harming is your own thought from the experience from the past stored in your memory, that is harming you. And when you come to the source, give attention to the source, you stay in the present moment, the thought you just observe those thoughts coming and going. And when you see the thoughts, observation of the thought coming and going, that itself, that energy itself, the observation itself will purify you. And it may not happen right away, but that's the pointer. Moksha Mukti is giving pointer, and from that pointing onward, you can experience. Paul Wood writes, I think it's flat, and to do with my life is interested in the truth. Is there an earth? Okay, so to go deeper with you, Paul, is there such thing called earth? Is the earth outward or just in your mind? Is earth out there? Is earth real, or just a perception, or just in your mind, or just perception in your mind? See, that is the truth. Earth, flat earth, round earth is not the truth, but your direct experience. How do you see the earth? Where is the earth? Is it in your brain or outward? Seeing that functionality, how everything is appearing, all the data receiving from five senses, and from your data, you're saying earth is flat, earth is round, depending on how you're taught. Somebody taught you earth is flat, you'll say earth is flat. Somebody taught you earth is round, earth is round. Somebody taught you earth is a hologram, which scientists is saying right now, earth is a hologram, and you'll say earth is a hologram. Those are coming from your knowledge, comprehensive knowledge. You see, you receive the data and your mind is interpreting. Mind is constantly interpreting based on your knowledge. So somebody can say earth is a crooked, you'll say earth is a crooked, because that knowledge is given to you by expert. Betty Holmes writes, Madonna, you need to realize you don't deserve the abuse and you deserve better than that. Well, Betty Holmes, that is a way to give therapy. Is a therapist will say something like that. But Moksha Mukti is going beyond that, and he is not even concerned about the past experiences. So he is going to simplify things for you. Simply give attention to the source here and now and observe. Because when you recognize the source within you now, you see, that source itself will guide you. That source itself will create possibilities for you. That source itself will create infinity possibilities for you. That source itself will create miracle for you. And he's simply asking you to give attention, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 1 minute, 10 minutes, however long you can, give attention to the source within you that is now, and that is observing everything. And when you give attention to that, you see, that itself will guide you. That itself will create possibilities for you. That itself will create infinity possibility for you, where you recognize, hey, wait a minute, all those things I'm thinking, those are all false. Because I'm here now, I am purified. You see, I am all cleansed from my past karma. You see, but Moksha Mukti is not here to cleanse your past karma. He is simply pointing where there is a possibility for you to create karma, past experience, possibility. There is only possibility when you give your attention to the source. There is only possibility for you. There is only possibility when you give attention. You see, there is infinity possibilities for you to experience young again, fresh again, and this experience here is fresh. And I'm sure you, most of you agree, by coming here you'll feel fresh, because this is fresh about the present. And Paul Wood writes, it is just a perception in my mind, I guess. Yes, this is just a perception in your mind. That is the truth. The truth is, the earth, everything is perception in your mind. You are perceiving. And mind is interpreting based on your knowledge, based on how you're conditioned. Mind is interpreting. Yeah, there are some people who says earth is flat, and there are lot of people who say earth is round, and there are few scientists who says earth is a hologram. Somebody is getting angry. Where is your anger stemming from? Look within the source. Where is the anger stemming from? You're stemming from your own thought. You're interpreting. And something is not according to your belief, something that not according to your condition, and you get angry. Anyway, Madan writes, I did wait too late, only after an ICU visit where I needed 20 pints of bloods. Well, that is certainly sad experience, Madana. To go through that process, right? It's difficult, because there is two things happening. One is your physiological pain, physiological suffering, and everyone suffers. physiologically. Everyone suffers. And Moksha Mukti is not denying that. There is suffering. Moksha Mukti accepts that. However, there is a second type of suffering, that is psychological suffering, and you suffer psychologically because that psychological suffering is stemming from your thought. It is stemming from your thought. And by being here and now in the present moment, giving attention to the source, inner source that you already have within you, it allows you to drop all the psychological suffering. It creates possibility for you to drop all the psychological suffering. You see, in physiological suffering, there is suffering. In a human form, everyone suffers. Everyone suffers one way or the other. And that suffering is real. However, the psychological suffering is not real. And Moksha Mukti is pointing you to see the source where your 90% of the suffering will falls out. Creates possibility falls out. And Betty Holmes writes, she's so sorry because yes, this is sad that people suffer. People suffer in the human form. And John writes, in life, you have a choice either to be happy or sad. It is all about positive and negative. But if the earth goes round and round, there can be difference in north and south, east, west. Yes, that's all perception in your mind. All you say positive thinking, negative thinking, happiness, sadness. Earth goes round, earth goes flat, whatever it is, all perception in your mind. Your mind is interpreting. And that is talking of the thought level. And Moksha Mukti here is pointing you to recognizing the source, pointing you to give attention to the source, pointing you to experience the source, pointing you to see the source. And that itself will create possibilities for you, infinite possibilities for you. You see. Mariana M. Markham writes, Mariana, have you been here before? Hello, Mariana. Thanks for joining. Namaste. How can I cut course to the past karma? Okay, Moksha Mukti is not going to tell you how. Okay, he's simply going to point you. How is the question of the thought. And as long as you're thinking, you are always connected to the past. You are always connected to your DNA. You are always connected to your past karma when you are thinking. But when there is no attachment to the thought, and that happens, there is a possibility when you give attention to the source that you already have within you, and that source is observing anything and everything that is happening outside and or inward in your own brain, all the thoughts appearing and disappearing. When you observe that thought, that observing, when you give attention to that is the observation, that is the source. That creates possibility for you to detach yourself from the thought. Not so much detaching, non-attachment. You can still think, but you're not attached to the thought. And when that happens, then you are not affected by so-called past karma. So Moksha Mukti is not anything about how to do this, how to do that. It's simply pointing you to give your attention to the source. That is simple, right? Why complicate your life? Give your attention to the source. Be here now in the present moment, and that's only possibility in the present moment. In the present moment, there is infinite possibilities, and in the present moment, there is a possibility for you to create miracle in your life. We have Changaze Niazi. Hey, I'm doing best to pronounce your name, okay? Hello, Changaze Niazi. Thanks for joining. Namaste. I agree with you, dear. Past knowledge create problem. We must believe on our own experience. Yeah, what Moksha Mukti is pointing here is now. Experience that here and now, in this present moment. In the present moment. Moksha Mukti is pointing you to Recognize the source here and now, not in the past, not in the future. Now, when you come here, that is your true nature. That is who you really are. That is the source of everything that is stemming from. And those who are going through really bad experience in life, just like the lady, see if I can recall your name here, Madonna, who is going through ICU. I've seen my grandfather being in the ICU. That is a painful experience to see and to probably experience. I haven't experienced anything like that. Even my daughter was in ICU for 27 days. You see, so that is a really painful experience, right? But what Moksha Mukti is pointing you, if you give attention to the source, be here and now, your pain, psychological pain, will dissolve. You see, and 90% of the time, all humans are suffering because of psychologically. And psychologically, pain is more painful because the 10% pain from physiological pain is there. Of course, no one can avoid that, but you can avoid psychological pain. And when you give attention to the source, be here now, the psychological pain will fall off, and you no longer have to suffer the psychological pain. And Madonna Rice, I agree. And Moksha Mukti does this now and then. He's going to do quantum prayer for you, and with the quantum prayer, it'll give you energy. Maybe heal you faster. Okay. So I just did a quantum prayer, and for you, Madonna. And Betty Holmes writes, "Don't live in the past. It hurts too bad." Yeah, Betty Holmes. I know you're trying to help everyone, trying to give positive, but here, what we're doing here is now we're not giving anyone any instructions. We're just simply pointing them to give your attention to the source here and now. You see, we don't want to say don't do this, don't do that. Simply we can point to give attention to the source here and now. And we have Kendra Lost Soul. Hello Kendra, thanks for joining. Namaste. And she writes, how can I find or dig to find my true life purpose? I am so unhappy right now. No job, no college education, no longer dream or anything. Okay, Kendra, so what is happening there is that you are speaking from your thought. Your thought has conditioned you, and you see, you're speaking from the thought. What Moksha Mukti pointing here is now is to give your attention to the source now in the present moment. Give attention to that. Don't give attention to the thought, because everything you're saying is stemming from your thought, not to the source. In the source, there is no purpose in life. There is no sadness in life. There is no happiness in life. There is no college education needed in life in the source. What Moksha Mukti is saying all this time right here is stemming from the source. He hasn't read anything anywhere. He doesn't listen to anyone, but everything's coming from here. And a lot of you joining here, saying this is sort of education. Where does that come from? It's coming from a source that is already within you now. And what Moksha Mukti has within you, you already have the same thing. And he's pointing you to that, pointing you to give attention to that. And the life purpose is created by your own thought. Life purpose is created by comprehensive collective knowledge, human corrected. And I am so unhappy right now is created by your thought. No job, no college education, no longer dream. That's all saying by your thought, because that's how humans are conditioned. By if you don't have college education, you don't dream. That's not true. A lot of people without college education is doing well. For example, Bill Gates, he dropped out of college. Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of the Facebook, he's creating all this spectacular technology allowing us to interact like this. Can you imagine doing that without Facebook? It's created by Mr. Zuckerberg. See? And he dropped out of Harvard. He didn't finish his college. So you don't really need college to be successful. However, Moksha Mukti doesn't say don't get education. You see, if you want to get education, get education. But it has nothing to do with your success. and you're believing too much in your thought, and thought is making you unhappy. So he is pointing you to give attention to the source. Give attention now. Madonna writes, I totally agree. I promised myself if I had second stay, I would leave. I did, but now I need multiple surgeries to stomach. No stomach left. Yeah, that's certainly painful experience to go through multiple surgeries. But what Moksha Mukti is pointing you, whatever energy you have, you see, I know your energy is wasted on the surgeries and doing other things, going through all this, painful illness that body is exhausted. But whatever energy you have, try to give attention to the source here and now. And in the source, see, that will guide you, that will give you energy to go through that. Because now you are not suffering psychologically. 90% of the time, the suffering is not there, because the source itself will help you see that your suffering is only 10% physiological. 90% of the suffering is psychological. And when the suffering, psychological suffering falls up, that gives you more energy. Maybe you don't need a surgery. See, but Moksha Mukti is not doctor, and he's not saying that don't do surgery, but he's just pointing you, whenever you have energy, give that attention to that. Maybe that will create miracle for you. There's a possibility for you to create miracle when you give attention to the source. And certainly it will get rid of your psychological suffering. Certainly it creates possibility for you to not to suffer psychologically. But he's not saying that you're not suffering physiologically. Yes, physiologically there is a suffering. And Madonna writes, yes, indeed, the nightmares, the relieving incidents, the insecurity, the financial struggles, I avoid trying to get money or support. It is too toxic. Yes, certainly, in this situation, certainly it's a painful situation. Maybe you can join groups. There are people who out there, who can help you. Certainly joining groups will help you. There are lots of other things, and the source itself will guide you. You see, and you can join some of those groups. There are some people. There are institutions, people who can help you in your situation, right? Marie Reed, hello Marie, thanks for joining, namaste. And Marie writes, can you give a brief summary of who you are? I apologize, I don't know. I just found this through Namaste group. Marie Reed, please Google Moksha Mukti Apollo, and you'll find out who he is. Right now, he is a simple, ordinary person. Simple, ordinary person, you see. And he is simply pointing you to give attention to the source that you already have you now, in this present moment. For you to recognize in the source, for you to experience the source, for you to see the source of everything and anything. That is already available to you right now. He's simply pointing you to that. Anything else, you can Google him, Moksha Mukti Apollo. You can see on my Facebook page there, Moksha Mukti Apollo. If you Google it, you'll see who is Moksha Mukti Apollo. So those of you who just joined, this is Moksha Mukti Apollo. Namaste, thanks for joining. Simply type your questions, comment, concern on the comment section, and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that. And he is simple, ordinary person. Simple.